Hi and welcome back to another GameDev Answers video, where I, as a game developer, answer questions about game development and gaming, and also talk a little bit about my background story. Today, I will tell you the exciting story behind my first finished and released game project. Are you ready? Sure you are, so let's go! So, the topic is not the first game I ever worked on, but more the first game I really released. In recent videos in videos before, I already talked about how I started game development, and there I also talked about the first projects I did. But today, we will take a look at the first real game, the first serious game I released. So I remember surfing the web when I found the page of a game engine called Craft Studio. Really everything looked fun and easy, and it was like finally finding what I searched for like my whole life. I always loved creation tools like map editors in games, and that program, that game engine, seemed like the tool to finally make my wildest dreams come true. Back then I charged around $25 for it, but I think now it's actually available for free if you search for it. Another cool thing was that you could easily develop games together with your friends. It had a built-in network system, so it was kind of like a multiplayer built in, so you could be in the map creator together with your friend and watch them building, So I started with some playing around and trying to learn the engine. The hardest thing, however, was the coding, and I think that is similar for other people who start off with game development. So I think it's a very common problem that coding is the hard thing to do. I mean, there are other topics which are also pretty tough, but coding is really, or at least seems like the hardest part. What always stopped me from modding or using advanced creation tools actually was the coding part. It seemed like magic for me back then, but that beautiful little tool had success, and in selling it to me, as I could do it, as I could get that coding stuff done. The cool thing was you could code your logic with visual blocks. So I thought, hey, I can do that. And although in retrospective, this was the worst code I ever wrote, and it most likely was completely chaotic and non-performant. Still, it taught me the much needed fundamentals of creating code or creating game logic. After a while, I decided to create my first real game. I remember talking about it with my best friend in school. Together, we came up with the idea to create a split-screen RPG adventure game where you can get quests, buy a player home, and go out to dungeons and places. And I always dreamed of being able to play my favorite games like Oblivion or Gothic 2 in a co-op. And with Craft Studio, I felt I could make it, or I could just do it by myself, And what should I say? Creating this game was an amazing and wonderful journey. There are so many memories, like adding the blacksmith from Gothic 2's Carinas to my city, how amazed I was by my very first working AI, how I taught my girlfriend the basics of the engine and we created some stuff together. Of course, I was not really be able to create an Elder Scrolls, obviously. But I back then, that really wasn't the goal. I just wanted to create a small kind of city with some quests you can just experience together. Still, this is really an enormous task for a beginner and a solo developer. Okay, so some other stories from back then. Because I remember how my girlfriend, when I taught her, tried to create a female character because I had just male ones in the game so far. It was just an amazing feeling to walk through my own town filled with my own characters, telling their own stories. How they came to life when I added a dialogue system. And there are much more funny memories, like a wizard in the city's mages guild whose physics settings were off and who rolled around like a ball. Really, it was very funny. Or the zombies I created for the game, which had a bug, so if they were above, if you were as a player, if you were above them, they rotated their whole body towards you. So my friend used this bug to invent something we called zombie surfing, and really was incredible funny, and it were great times. However, as you may know already, that game never really got finished. I slowly had to realize that my goal was way too massive and the engine came to its limits, or my own skills were just not good enough at the time. So I decided to use some parts of what I have done already and create something small but finished out of it, and that is what you can find as Night Fight on itch.io. So this was my very first finished game and one of many to come. Really would be much more to tell about the development, but that's it for today's video. So now it's your turn once again. Do you have experiences with game development? Have you ever tried it yourself? And what do you think about my beginnings? Was it funny? Was it weird? Tell me in the comments down below. So if you enjoy the content on my channel, if you want to see the development process of my upcoming game, consider subscribing. If you don't like it, it's okay, just go away, search for another channel. I hope you enjoyed my content, and as always, have a wonderful day, enjoy your life and stay cool!